This stuff is.
My apologies.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Willington Board of Education special meeting. This is our budget workshop number 3. It's January 28th, 2026. We're calling the meeting to order at 5:33 p.m. Welcome. You are invited to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we are here and ready for present to speak. So if you are online or here in person and would like to share some thoughts or comments about things on this agenda, which include prior programs, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll be happy to hear from you. I hope we'll have lots of participation tonight or in the coming weeks. Okay, thank you all for joining us. We are addressing program 8 tonight, which is operations maintenance, and program 9, system-wide support. After that, we will review prior programs and have some discussion and talk about some updates, a couple quick updates. And we'll make some adjustments as needed there, and then we will proceed to it. So we are on program 8, operations and maintenance. It is happening on 21. Thanks, Anne. Oh, look, it says decrease.
Yes.
That's happy.
Okay, here you go. So this program 8 is for all the funding for custodial and maintenance services for Center and Hall schools. One of the HMS school secretaries is coded off to this program a portion. They do POs, they do a lot of the organization, make sure when invoices come in, they're paid. That's part of Matt Flaggert's role at HMS. Staffing wise, you see there, we have one maintenance supervisor at Center and one maintenance supervisor at Hall. We have 2 custodians who clean at night at Hall School in the evening and one who cleans at Center School in the evening. That honestly sounds like a dream right now because we've been down and it's been a challenge. So, but that's what we typically have. You can see I did not add the facilities manager back in. I did not think I would love to be honest with you, with how much time I've spent on this, but just not prudent where this budget number was. So I did not put that back in. When you look at the salaries section, you can see it's contractual from the West contract. So a portion of the secretarial, you can see the Center School maintenance custodians that are there. That also includes the custodians and the maintenance supervisors in both of those. And any stipends they have, anything like that altogether. We increased the summer custodian line for 2 reasons. One was based on the minimum wage, but also because of usage. So watching what it was costing us over the course of the last couple summers, it needed to go up. And because we were running over budget by a couple thousand. So we've adjusted that. Again, no facilities director. When you look at the Kerma property insurance, that's actually your cybersecurity liability insurance. It is also your property insurance. We have a slight increase there. And then we kept custodial supplies flat. We've been doing okay with where we're at. It is tight, but we felt like we could operate within that number, so we left it alone. That's all of your items: toilet paper, paper towels, things like that, tissues, mops, cleaning chemicals, all of those items fall into that for the district. And that has oversight from that, the secretary. So he opens a PO and then the 2 supervisors can pull off of that for their schools for what they need for supplies. And then we have the custodial travel. So when we pay, when they need items, you know, such as gas or snow blower part, or as of today, going to buy 4 portable heaters for Hall School. He gets reimbursed for that mileage, or they get reimbursed for that mileage. So we actually again looked at usage. We increased it for $50, and pretty straightforward. Remember that we have maintenance items in programs 1 and 2. The MCOR preventative maintenance is in programs 1 and 2. It's not in this. And I keep saying this, but the increase in this the decrease in this program is nice. It says decrease, but it should say increase.
I was gonna ask.
Well, there was a decrease the previous 2 years.
Maybe I missed that
previous
one.
year.
Good, that's the first catch I've seen, which is good. The increase I was gonna say is actually tied to salaries. So that is program 8. It's pretty straightforward. Again, when you think about the items that are in here, their oversight for the building supervisors, they do a lot of different things. Whether it's, working with MCOR today, Steve at Hall was working with 2 different vendors for the radon mitigation. That's one of the things that they're responsible to do. Matt had to call MCOR today and he'll oversee that, went for a heating issue at Center. That's part of their job is in this program. Questions about program 8?
I have a question or comment.
Go for it.
How many years is that MCOR contract?
It's annual.
Okay, and then my next question with that, so that includes, 'cause I don't know if I ever got to look at what their contract includes. Is that just PMs and then like service calls as needed?
It's definitely not service calls as needed. We have yes, because we're a customer, so they have a response time that they have to basically come out within a certain period of time. And we have a negotiated rate for travel. So typically, like you'll see, some companies have $175 just to come out and see you. We pay half their normal site visit rate. And then obviously all the preventive maintenance oversight. So they check every item we have that is under their contract.
Okay, one thing that I was just thinking about is, I wonder, maybe not for this budget season, but maybe it could turn into a conversation if Mike thought it was a feasible idea. I wonder if it would be advantageous to make a town-wide building service contract for mechanicals, like have the same company that does the schools do like the town office building and the library, because I know a different company services the library. I'm not sure who services the town office building, but I wonder if lumping everything together would kind of be more appealing, like a bigger contract for a contractor.
So at one point, the town was with New England Mechanical as well, MCOR as well. And they decided, just because their items that they have serviced are different, they decided to go in a different route. And I think they're using Homestead now. I don't know if the library's in that contract though.
Yeah.
Or
Okay, just something that I was thinking about. I didn't know if it would, you know what I mean, like if we would get a better deal, because we're like, okay, well, you're doing all of our buildings, you're doing this, you're doing that, you know what I mean? So that's all.
Yep.
You want to email our selectmen that question, Sam? That might be good.
What was that?
Would you email our selectmen and ask them that question?
Yeah,
Well-
I can. If the town office building is using Homestead, then there is a third contractor involved, because I don't think they go to the library.
Yeah.
So we
And I
have
don't-
3 different contractors, you know what I mean, as of that I know of. So it just kind of seems a little redundant, but if they had it that way, and then they changed it for a reason. That's all. I was just wondering if we could have a little, if it mattered or maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Did anybody else have questions about that program? Okay. Then we're gonna move on to program 9, system-wide support.
All right, so this program contains a variety of items needed to operate a school district. This has, you know, IT services, magnet school tuition, legal fees, school security items. I'm in this area, my administrative assistant's in the area. And a portion of her member goes off to transportation, so that's why it shows up as 0.85. That position is full-time, and we also have the district sub caller in this, which is a small amount of money. You can see the contractual amount is in there for superintendent administrative assistant contractual. That went down because we had adjusted for the incoming person. I guess there's no better time, and I'll slide this way a little bit, at least it doesn't kick me. I hired Brianna Knight as my assistant, so she will be joining to replace, yes, I think there were a lot of that feeling, except for over here.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so-
Lisa.
Yes.
Someone great over there.
That's what we're hoping for.
That's what we're hoping for, and the applications are coming in, so Brianna will be transitioning over and still helping. The good thing is if there's an issue, she can zip over and help and train and do things like that. She's agreed to that. Brianna's also helping in the business office right now.
That's right.
So she's got her hands in lots of areas, but this reflects the salary change. And so you can see that, the district sub-white collar, it just was trued up with, there's a phone stipend they get for, because of all the phone work that they do, obviously is calling. So that's the 4,000. When you get to the purchase services, we have that broken out. This is probably the most challenging program for us to track, but we have it down to a science now. Magnet school tuition, obviously the number of students decreased, so we have a smaller number there in the budget number. Next year, we only have 4 students, or that we're paying for. This year, we have 5. We reduced the teacher retirement valuation line. And next year's an off year, so we only have to do the disclosure report. It's not the full mandatory actuarial report that you have to do, which is nice because of the savings, obviously. And it used to be $1,900. It is $3,500 is the actual now. I did put legal fees back up for 1,000 based on usage, up to 10,000. Copiers the same. IT, those licenses had a slight increase there. Not much in the grand scheme of things. The Novus contract is a multi-year contract. I think it's a 3-year contract. Currently, we're in year 2. And so there's an increase there. Again, that's 4 days a week on site. And basically 7 days a week of remote service. So I call them just like I did at the start of this meeting.
I was gonna ask if that's what you're on the phone with,
That
that's
is-
an important
Yes, yep.
service right there.
And that person I called is directly in charge of our account. And the folks on the ground, so.
Do we share that with the town?
So that is our portion, and the town's portion is a little bit higher, maybe it's like 123 maybe. It's just, it was like broken down, I think when they initially did it, it was 51.49. I don't know why, but it is a shared service.
So 4 days on site, what do they do on site all 4 days?
So they're doing tickets on site, so some of the tickets that are put in can't be done remotely. So if the remote people can do it, they will, but otherwise they'll sign it on site. They fix a lot of broken Chromebooks, it's hands-on machines here. As someone transitions in to help in the business office, they're setting up accounts and making sure those things are in play. They do a report for Mike, they do a presentation for Mike as first selectman, and they do a presentation for me about all of the things they've completed in the year. Any of the cybersecurity stuff, any of that stuff. Yeah, that's remote.
Could you possibly share that report? Cause I'd be very interested to know what they are doing on-site 4 days a week, 52 weeks a year.
Yep.
That seems a bit much to be on site in 2026. But.
Yeah, that's without summers on site, the summers off outside,
If it's town-wide, then they're gonna be at the town.
No,
they're in 4 days a week in the summer too.
mhm,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why I'm saying, like, I'd like to know what that report entails.
This summer, they could be upgrading computers for the,
they do all the rollover inventory, everything, yeah.
Yeah.
I can get, and I'm sure Novus would love to do a presentation for you if you ever wanted one too.
Sure.
Um. Especially with IT guys in the room. Okay, so you see the cybersecurity monitoring in there. That's part of what is required so we can have our cyber insurance. The school messengers, both, they do our website and that's the notification. So the last 2 snow days, when I send out the message, it's part of that system.
So School Messenger is a third party
It is
that runs our text notifications or our email notifications, or both,
both.
and they run the website too.
So they, actually, I think Power School owns School Messenger, which is fine too.
Okay.
So, they are owner of the website, which is totally separate. The school messenger was purchased as a piece of it. And the school messenger, when I do a school messenger or an admin does, anything that we send, email, phone, or text is all through that system.
I believe Power School pulled a Cisco and just bought everybody.
They continue to be honest with you.
Right, but so basically you're saying Power School owns our domain, which.
I mean, it might be licensed to us, that's up to them, but
But
they manage.
that'd become a problem if we had an issue with Power School and they decided to take their domain and go home.
Mhm.
We own our domain,
Oh, you don't?
yeah,
Okay.
cause
You
we
were
have
never for
to
that.
buy it every, 5 years to
Yeah.
go GoDaddy or
So
whatever it is.
will you just sub out the work for the website then?
No,
Basically,
we do the website design. Once you pay for the initial, build out, we manage it.
oh, so I guess what I'm driving at is what's the website portion of School Messenger that we're paying for at this point? Cause the website's pretty much established, you're just making
To keep it up,
updates.
yeah,
Is it hosted on their servers?
yes, and I would think the majority of that bill is actually School Messenger.
Okay. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but I'm being nitpicky.
Have to be.
You guys know what that all means and ways around it.
Well, yeah, I just think that our website's pretty much stood up at this point, so it's just gonna be minor, like. Front line update, picture updates, like that kind of thing as you go on, that's not much to do for
But
something.
we do that,
Right, so that's why I'm wondering.
probably just the hosting
Right,
portion.
right.
Yeah. Just gonna make a note. Cause I don't have a good response for what they do for us, to be honest with you.
maybe that could,
Other than host,
that could be the same presentation with Novus, maybe update on the 2.
yeah. The school assessment used to be the iReady piece, that's the 3,000 is flat in there now, so it's a portion of what how we're paying for the data system that we're using, which is failing my brain right now, it's well, M-Class, thank you. The district-wide subscriptions, we're not using Newsella or Read Naturally anymore, it's just blank, next year that'll be gone. That row. The Raptor is the system you scan your ID when you come in, so we can do a background check if you're gonna be in our buildings. And that's just the annual fee for that that service. The telephone cost is there, this is something post-budget is on my radar. I think we can do better on our phone service. Marcia has said we could probably do away with her phone service, but it's gonna take some time because it's also coordinated with the town. And I didn't want to throw this on Mike in his first month of office to say, let's redo the phone service, and have a hard deadline for a budget. So I don't think it's gonna save a ton of money, but we're looking to see what we can do. I think Tanaka, before he was leaving too, this is something he said, this phone service needs to be updated and because it's all connected, town and schools. You can see the internet services there, that's typical, and that's the portion for my office. Postage is there, we dropped that because of usage. Hi, Marcia. We had dropped the board clerk down to 600 to, so we were gonna do half the minutes. And that's just, it's been more time, and we don't have more time. So we put it back to the 1200. We do the minutes, off of the recordings for the budget workshops and any policy meetings or any curriculum meetings that we have. That 1200 is $100 per meeting for your regular meeting.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Possibly, so if we do our special meetings. Could I possibly suggest there is any number of AIs out there now that'll do dictation? That would have it all done and then just have somebody kind of listen and scan at the same time, which would save you hours.
Yeah,
And that might be worth doing if that's successful on some of the smaller meetings, that might be worth doing for the bigger meetings and just saving some of that money.
so Zoom has this AI.
Yeah, Zoom stinks. I'm talking about
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
Zoom is terrible, but they have very good ones that recognize fluctuations in voice and different pitches and everything can actually pinpoint. You can tell it. This is the voice of Tracy talking, this is the voice of Arthur talking, this is the voice of Brianna talking, and it'll fit all that out perfectly.
Do you have a name?
I'd have to look them up. I have 40 different AIs.
Okay, if you know something good, let me know,
Yeah.
just shoot me an email. Perfect. Yeah, I love that efficiency because it's not my favorite part. The professional technical services for 504. 504 is that the Rehabilitation Act. You can't discriminate based upon disability or, so we use those funds. If they don't require special education, but they still get accommodations. Think about visual aids, large print books, whatever they need. That's not in the typical budget, that would come out of this. Typically, Marcia, good timing. You help with the oversight of that, and that's some of the things that we have done for 504, where it might not be special ed, could be hearing impairment as well. So
Technology.
just technology, things like that. So that's what the 504 section is. And same thing with the audiological repairs. Remember, we increased the special ed budget, but this is not on the special ed side, this is the 504 side. So there's funds in there because we expect we're gonna be using those as well, and we do. We dropped down the public safety officers because we would been watching use and also billing. And I'll be honest with you, the fire department is very, very kind to us of how they've been billing us. If they can come to an event that we tell them about and they can be there and it's somebody that's on duty and they don't get called anywhere, they just consider it part of their hours and they don't bill. So it's very handy. But that's there, the year we had the fire in the parking lot during the show at the middle school with a full parking lot. Well worth having someone there when those things happen, so.
What is the benchmark for having a public safety officer? Like, is there?
So we do larger events. When it's something like center school, one room, it's typically, and it's contained and staff is at the event. And I'm gonna maybe I should give a hall example. And we don't want kids wandering the halls. Those people public safety officers are told, hey, make sure you walk through these stairwells, check this, walk around. That's what they're doing during that time. We've also had someone who was very pregnant at an event that they were aware of and just said they, was told like, hey, I'm due today, but I'm here, and just so you know, like things like that.
Okay.
But really, when our cameras went in and during a play, I don't remember if it was a play or a show or a concert. We saw someone on one of our stairwells, that's the double drop, full length down, hanging off the railing. We thought public safety officers would be a good idea. So I'm just saying they are there to help out, and it's worked out, so. Amazon Prime is pretty clear. We get some good deals through Amazon for our supplies. The Zoom is our portion, that is a shared subscription with the town. We have the policy service we get through Shipman, that's any of the updates, and being able to access their model policies online, which has been used a ton already. And then the E-rate consulting, we pay a fee to a company who manages our E-rate reports. It's quite honestly, it's a little bit of a nightmare. It's a lot of work and it's worth every dollar we pay them. And that's where we get the money back for the internet. So what would have cost, $27,000 and we are paying, 12. It's that paperwork. We're also we're going to be eligible for new wireless access points at some point that they put money aside for that and they help us apply for that and use that money towards, and then there's a whole process to get it. But that E-rate consulting helps us through that process.
What is your rate?
E-rate is, so for districts, you can basically, the government sets aside a certain amount of time, it's like a grant. And they say, hey, you have $40,000 to use, you get it based upon how much you're eligible for your reimbursement rate. And so we've picked up, UPS backups, battery backups, we've picked up, wireless access points. They've helped with our bridge to my office here, and you basically just get the material at a discounted rate, and it's significantly discounted rate.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Supplies for my office and you left flat, from last year. And then the dues, on the others page there, slight increase on the BOE dues, slight increase on CAPS and URSA, that's mine. East Con and CT REAP is where we post. We put less money in this year for the Board of Ed conference just because of usage over the last few years. So to decrease that, my conference has been flat. To be honest with you, I typically push it towards your conference. If more people attend, I have a travel stipend in there, and then the vacation buyout is the line we said we'd hold if we need to put money in there. So you can see this total has a decrease, and mainly because of the salary there and the actuarial evaluation. Questions on program 9?
I don't have a question, but I guess it's more of a comment. It kind of ties into the email that I sent that we tabled some of that discussion.
Yep.
In regards to especially like the Chromebooks and the software and the hardware and the support that we pay for that.
Yeah.
It's very substantial, and I think that if we are switching to, or potentially playing around with switching to a cart versus a one-to-one. I think that would probably cut back on a lot of tickets as far as like breaking things, stuff like that, perhaps. Even just like maybe in my fantasy world, phasing out Chromebooks altogether. I know one of the concerns was like testing, and I looked into that, and there are services where you can rent Chromebooks for a day, a week, a month, whatever, which I think would be more affordable than everything that we're paying to upgrade them all the time and all this, but that just might be not realistic in this day and age. I know a lot of other districts, I think even some in Connecticut, but even in like other states are kind of like getting away from that type of technology allowed in all of their classrooms and are seeing good benefits from it. Not only with test scores and like doing different learning, but like cutting back on screen time, which there's studies showing that it affects behavior, things like that. So that was kind of part of the crux of that section of the email that I had sent that we hadn't gotten a chance to talk about it. But just seeing like the Novus, all this other stuff that we're paying for, like we're paying a lot of money to have that. So it's like, I don't know. That's just my view potentially on it.
What we pay Novus for the amount of money you pay them would cover now in the IT world, probably 1.2, maybe one person. I would say one person with benefits. If and we get the Army with it, with Novus. That was a challenge. Years ago, we had a one-person system here. And they were a specialist in Power School. So all the Power School was great, but the security wasn't, the website wasn't. I mean, everything else that we get through Novus. Where you could see, and this is the question I think Arthur is getting at, is where you could see savings on the Novus side is you pay more for onsite, right? The onsite support is more money. And we went from 5 to 4, last year was the first year. And I haven't heard any complaints about going 5 to 4, and it seems like it's gone okay. That could be potentially, you know, the idea is to have things in good shape so that you keep creeping down. They charge us more if we have a big project. The other piece about that I didn't say was that when we do have a big project, because we have 4 days a week on site right now, is they can build those projects into their time, and it's not additional money. So if there's, you know, if they have something they have to do that's gonna swap over, that's gonna cost 16 hours of time. They will not bill us as a special project because they can build it into their hours, and they always let me know if they can do that, so. Any other?
All right, let's move forward to review of prior programs and discussion, which.
Can I go through a few things that you have in front of you now, so just to kick that off, is that okay? So, let's just start with the main budget document, because that probably makes sense. Brenda printed out. Get back to this. Brenda printed out the pages that changed for you, so anything that's in, I think it's in color, is in green. So here is the adjustment. This is the change because of the excess cost. Where we decreased the amount of money. We went from like 425, I want to say, to 362, something like that. So we had to increase the budget because that was where it was capped from the state. So the green is the new numbers there. So that was the first page. I updated the budget process page where the cut was. So there's the new was 425 down to 361 and the change there. And then on program 3, sorry for making you dizzy, it shows up there. And so there's a new program total for special education for program 3. So you can insert those pages into your document now.
We don't have
We don't have
that.
that one.
Oh, you didn't get the final page?
This, we're gonna file that.
I don't have it either.
Wait, no.
So you don't have the program 3 change page? We will get that for you.
I have some with green on it, but I was confused.
So we're supposed to read.
Yeah, so you just didn't print that. Page 16. Yes, we will get that for you. That, I think I emailed this whole document to you, right, as well?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that was one item. The second item you asked about was non-lapsing, was this. So I printed this out for you. And Donna, before she left, I asked her to reconcile this, and she did for us. So that shows a balance of $261,000 in it, $463.29. When you take out what we have, that's after our 100,000 we've applied this year. Okay, so now because I've applied $100,000 to next year's budget, it brings off $100,000 and it brings it down to the 163,463.29. And then the board agreed to cover the balance of the over the budgeted amount that we had for that third grade teacher. We budgeted 52,629, and the overage is the 43,000. Again, you don't have to do that, but it's got to be covered one way or the other in the big picture. And then you can see that this is coming, is that I'm more than likely in your regular meeting going to ask you to apply another $100,000 this year. Because of the 7th outplacement. I said the budget is frozen. It is. Alicia called me for $67 today. I paid for it out of REIT, but like that, when I say it's frozen and can I, and she said, can I pay for it out of my own money? I said that the REIT balance has, like $25,000 in it, whatever. I'm paying for things like that, even though it doesn't impact the educational side of things right now. That's where I'm paying for these things. So that would leave you a balance at the end, basically walking into next year of 17,898. You could consider instead not applying the $100,000 to this year, the additional $100,000 to this year, as long as we find a way out. And you could apply it to next year to bring the current number down.
Wait a second, do you mean 20, can you just use years, so when you're?
Yes, so this first line is already in the 26, 27 budget in front of you.
Mhm.
So that's already, you have to pretend like it's spent. Cause I have an offset in the budget for next year of $100,000 using non-lapsing funds. It shows up in program 3 right here. Okay, so you have to pretend like that money's spent, cause if it's in here, it is spent. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so that's this 100,000, so now I'm down to 161. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Then these two items would be this year. So this year, we hired the third grade teacher, and that's the overage. Okay, and this year, we are in a budget freeze because we have a 7th outplacement and we need to pay for it. And so I'm saying at your February meeting, I might be asking you for another $100,000 just so I can unfreeze the budget, and it's still gonna be very tight, but to get us through. The challenge is, I'm writing a letter to the Board of Finance. If they say we would prefer to fund it now, we will give you some extra money to fund that 7th outplacement now, because that was the deal, then you, in my opinion, you could apply more money to next year. You might not choose to do that $100,000 more. But you could make it, say, instead of applying here, and this is where my point is, Jen, right there, it could be, instead of 100,000, it could be 150, so you have a little bit of a buffer. Or it could be 200 and you leave yourself $17,000. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna give you a bunch of those scenarios. And you're gonna have to decide how you want to do that. You might have to wait until the Board of Finance gives you a response. But right now, that's where your non-lapsing account is.
So that 100,000 in column 2, not column 3. You're proposing, if the Board of Finance doesn't fund anything, that increase 200,000, because that's the current year. Right?
Yeah, to get us out of the hole.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When is that technically due? That 100,000 for the outplacement?
There's money.
Is it ongoing? How
Yeah,
much a
yeah,
month
yeah.
and all that?
It's typically the end of the year, because they do their invoices at the end of the year after all the services have been provided. But what I'm trying to do, and I've
Is to
got,
encumber it.
I've got a list for Sherry so that like Title I's apply, all of our grants, so we can see big picture, all programs. The point of this conversation is really about next year, but, and again, my point is, even though it says the row 3, 25, 26, program 3 special education offset, $100,000. That is towards this year, but I'm telling you, it could be next year as well. That, or instead. Does that make sense? If the Board of Finance gives you money this year to pay for that as 7th outplacement, you could apply that to next year. If they don't, you're probably gonna need that. And I'll build that special ed, how we're coming back to 0 out at your regular February meeting. But at this point, you can't apply additional funds to offset next year, because you might need it this year. And with a balance of 17,000, your buffer is nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Is there conventional wisdom as to what the non-lapsing fund is used for? Like, do people usually use it for special education outplacements.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's, I think people pay for items that are unexpected costs that come out of the woodwork. Or typically, oh gosh, our AC in our building broke and we're running a 4-week summer program and we've got to fix the AC and it's gonna be $38,000. They would use that type of money for capital projects, something like that.
I know we're gonna have a further discussion about it. I am concerned, about making that go so far down that we don't have any, ability to be fluid as far as expenses go. Like if we have an outplacement that we have to pay for, and we have $17,000 in there, and we go to the Board of Finance and they say, sure, and then we go to a town meeting and they say, no way, what do we do? Like, I'm. I think there needs to be like. I'm probably using this incorrectly, but like an MOU or something that. Outlines what kind of history of that is and. What the expectation is if that fund is so low that we can't really do anything with it.
Mhm.
In my humble opinion.
This is where some districts, I told you, will do a placeholder for special education outplacement. So if they do have somebody go out, they have the $200,000 set aside for that. You use it as your non-lapsing fund, so your set aside right now would be squashed. There's nothing, there will be nothing in it. And I honestly, I think probably one way or the other, whether you use it this year or you choose to use some of it towards next year, maybe you keep 50,000, so you have 65,000 in there, 67,000 in there. So you have a little bit of a buffer, but we all know if there's an outplacement, it's not $90,000.
Right.
It's 250.
Or start taking excess cost out of the budget and use that as a buffer
In the future,
in the future.
How
Can't
many
be.
years till we get to that point?
to what point? That point?
Mm-hmm.
So
Naturally, like, you know what I'm saying?
in the 27, 28 years, the year that I expect, we will have over $300,000 savings.
Okay.
Marsh, there's a couple points here, and this is why I think like adding the $100,000 next year doesn't hurt you. But if you do that, your $300,000 savings is now 200,000 because you've applied another 100,000, and you wouldn't do that in the next year. Does that make sense? So it would become 200,000. It is a little bit of a, how do you get through it though? I mean, that's the bottom line. But we expect, and when we do the budget next year, that we'll have over $300,000 in savings. As of today. Right?
Right.
So that is gonna probably. That 261 is gonna stay as 261 for quite a while. And the reason why is we won't apply the 43,000 until we get towards the end of the year where we see where our bottom line number is. If we have some savings someplace else and we can use the savings to not apply as much non-lapsing there, we would do that. I have the HMS staff support specialist is retiring pretty much next month. She's announced that and I'm not gonna fill it. So there's more savings there. It's not gonna cover our shortfall by any means, but we're scraping together dollars to try and cover special ed shortfall. The last thing I did for you. And then I guess you can get through your programs, is I figured this might be helpful. I just made, it's basically our snapshot, the top part is a snapshot, but I've never done this before, but I thought this was a good way to look at this. Was just to have the budget request totals. For each line and then what, you know, the snapshot, what the reasons are, and. Program 3 is the special ed $249,000 increase. Medical and dental right now is 163, and then the staff contracts, because they go across programs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. I didn't pull them individually, but that would be the other bulk of the increase is contractual. So, the numbers tell a story there.
Do you have any updated information on the insurance?
Nope, just talked to Stacy about it today. She's gonna email the broker on Friday. Just to say, okay, it's gonna be February 2nd on Monday. We would love to know our meeting and can we schedule it so we have. They said February. I hope it's not gonna be February 21st. But we're pushing the issue. We met about it today. Because that's gonna be the difference. Then again, if that comes back to a zero, you're about $100,000 is a little over $100,000 is a percent. So you're still in the high fives. Average superintendent's proposed budget right now in the state is a 521. So those are the changes I had, and then I don't know if you want to go back to any of the other programs now and then also address Sam's questions because we missed those last week. That's what I had.
Does anybody want to go back to something specific? I'm trying to do.
So I had emailed you about breaking out the special ed teachers, you know, just
Yeah,
anyway, just kind of breaking out who they are versus, you know, their full contract that you so that we got there. So someone like Heidi Aphorismo or Christmas Stevens or like math specialist, reading interventionists, all that, where do they fall into the budget? Like,
they're half in program 1 and half in program 2.
so do they fall in as like a teacher?
They are,
Okay.
yes. Yes.
Oh. Absolutely.
Yeah, same thing with intervention folks. They're in the same boat.
Okay,
They fall.
so they fall in as teachers.
Yes, yep. And then you had asked Arthur last time and I said yes hesitantly, but you were asking about the SLPA in program 3, if they were listed as part of the paraprofessionals.
Yeah.
And it's the 14.91 plus the IDA grant 0.09 to make it 15, plus the one speech assistant makes it 16.
So it is
Yeah.
16.
60 total. Okay. And their dollar value is in the entire paraprofessional line,
Yeah,
which I think that's what your question was.
yeah. Yeah, basically.
What else do people want to read then? And Sam, so last time, you had sent Bill an email with some questions and points. We talked a little bit about the Chromebook question, but you want to go back to that and
Sure. We try to find that
sure.
email. It's on here.
I have 4 questions if you.
Yeah, what else?
Kristen?
Phase out the Chromebooks. Something about oil tanks.
Oh. Because, he had brought up that now we need to have our oil tanks inspected annually, which we didn't know before, so I didn't know if that was included in the maintenance
It is, I told the board, we had one of our maintenance supervisors offer to do the course to get AB certified. And it was like $350, something like that, and he did it. And so now he can do the visual inspections and be responsible for that.
Okay, cool. And then,
World language.
You also asked about the maintenance money, which is kind of along the same lines. The DRIP grant is the district repair money. It's supposed to be a 2-year grant. And it's about $45,000 each year. So when you said more maintenance money for repairs, it is I decreased the haul line, but it's actually more overall because anything I took out of the haul line was for repairs. So, anything that we do to repair the boiler, anything we do that's considered to be a repair can be paid for with those DRIP funds. If the DRIP funds disappear after next year, I would absolutely bring that maintenance line back up in program 1 and 2. But that's, so your wish of like the additional 10,000, we right now have I'll call it 30,000. We're getting 40, but I dropped the whole school down to, I think, 8,000 maybe, something like that. So there's more money for repairs, for the day-to-day repairs. It's just something breaks, you fix it. It's that type of.
okay. For the import contract, this is something that I was just thinking about as you were talking to, for their contract. That includes, quarterly filters. And belts, or belts as needed, I should say, I'm asking.
I'd have to pull that contract back out.
Okay, cause my one question that I don't know if it would be. Worth it or not is. I mean, it's doing. And I know we're short staffed, but I didn't know if it would be more beneficial to do something like that, that I would consider like a simple thing to do. In-house. Or even just purchasing the filters and have them delivered to us, and then if we don't get, cause it's just quarterly, it doesn't take that long to change a filter. You don't need a license to change a filter, just open it up, take them out, throw them away, put them in. Even if maybe we could coordinate with Public Works with that, if we don't have any maintenance person available. I'd imagine it would only take. But we don't have. It's not like we have a lot of air conditioning. We have mostly boilers. We don't have a lot of air handlers. What do we even have? For equipment, you know what I'm trying to say? If that would lessen. That potentially. And then I don't know if that's nickeling and diming, but my opinion is that every dollar counts and matters. But yeah, what else was I gonna say? Oh, the world language thing. I was looking up online and we don't, obviously I don't know, so this is just a rudimentary Google search that it's not, you need credits, but you can get those credits in high school for a world language, so I didn't know if we need a world language, we're just using a para with Chromebooks with a software, we're using Rosetta Stone, so is that something that?
It would still allow them to go into a language 2 if that recommendation was made. If they don't have that, they would have to go into a language 1.
And then you're climbing uphill for colleges, because they want at least 3 years now. So you're kind of forcing the high school students to be in language for 3 years instead of in their junior and senior year when things start to branch out and open up a little bit, they can go in a direction. You've taken away one of their classes to mandate that they're in language if they want any chance to get into a traditional 4-year university, like they're all pretty much demanding 3, some are demanding 4 at this point, so.
Okay.
That's the other part. The only thing I will say that I like about our world language is, I know this kind of contradicts the point I just made, but with Rosetta Stone, there's a wide selection of languages you can choose, and it might get the kids interested in learning something besides, say, there's Spanish, French, German.
But do we have that unlimited access, or is that?
I'm pretty sure, I would hope so for,
And I can choose.
for the licensing we pay, so. And then the cost of having the para run the class, I mean, it's way lower than a world night.
Yeah, I think it was a really creative way to fill that void that we had from not being able to find, I think that's why we did that. So we were having a hard time, finding a teacher. Yeah, I'm also just kind of not to be. I'm not gonna say pessimistic, I'm gonna say realistic, I'm just thinking of potential. Cost cutting for things, you know what I mean, versus like. Increasing class size, you know, I don't know, I'm just throwing ideas out there, it's like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. Is it the best thing? No, but obviously. We're not in the best situation, I don't really foresee this going to the best situation, so I'm just trying to think of like different things, it's like, well. We could do this if we really had to, just getting the, I'm not trying to put it in the universe, but we have to, push comes to shove. Just thinking about different ways to potentially cut the budget and finding one.
See, the other good thing about Spanish is that, does it start in kindergarten or kindergarten? The children have a teacher and they have Spanish lessons K through 4. So they have that teacher interaction and learning the
Who's doing
codes
that?
and singing, a Spanish teacher.
0.5, elementary school.
And then then they start using the computer at the middle school, so they
Yeah, I
have to
mean-
have that interaction with a person and appropriate, elementary appropriate.
I think
Really
it's good.
interesting.
I personally would love to be a polyglot, so I have nothing against learning different languages. That's not my point. My point is just like, hey, you know, it's not mandated to have this. If we could, you know, I don't want to, I'm just saying.
I thought you were talking about the computer part of it, as being,
Potentially, yeah, that was
Personal.
a partial, yeah. It was,
Save a job.
an elective, I guess. I don't even know if that's the right word to say, but, a potential elective where we could have multifaceted savings over, different things within the budget.
2 points for that. I appreciate where you're going. The others, just a devil's advocate kind of thing is. I haven't heard it recently, but over the past. About competitiveness, having our students be competitive going into middle school as a region. And if other districts have. That opportunity in middle school and our kids don't, we're putting them. At a disadvantage. And. If we were to do that, once it's gone, it's really hard to get it back. Because it took us probably 10-15 years to get science and social studies in 7th and 8th grade, 5 days a week. I mean, for the whole year instead of half. So just,
I think asking those kinds of questions, it's safe to, I think in this group and this arena, it's safe to say, what about this thing? Can we talk about this thing? And also, I wouldn't want to see it go. Because that's just demonstrating our ability to leave no stone unturned and to have the conversations about why we do things a certain way, what programs we're offering, the value in them. And that helps all of us have a good handle on everything, all of the programs. And I think it helps people who are joining us to better understand why those things are on there and what they do to serve our children. So please don't ever feel like you can't toss something up there for us to like inspect and look at and we have a conversation around and use our administrators to help us guide us in those conversations and understand better, because it's not that you're going along with your red pen trying to slash things out, it's just the conversation and part of the process. So I'm glad that you felt comfortable bringing that up, and I hope you did anyway. I mean,
and I wasn't
everyone-
trying, like,
No,
say it was a bad
everyone
idea.
should be
I'm just
able
saying.
to do those kinds of things, and you're right, like this is a very tough situation again. So what can we do? And you were talking about looking at little things, looking at big things. We're super lucky because we've got some IT experts, we've got all of this maintenance background and building stuff, you've got educators here, you've got community members and parents and everyone participating, like this thing cannot at all get out of hand whatsoever with all of our eyes on it, so. Like, let's not be afraid of those conversations and asking like, what is the point of this? How bad do we need this? What could we do instead? Because I think that's just being creative problem solvers, and that's what we need.
And that goes beyond our board. That goes to the community members right now. This is the time, if you have ideas, to bring them to us, write letters. Bring them to our meeting. I don't know what the date is in a couple weeks.
The 10th.
The 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Zoom, tell us what you're thinking, because telling us in May and June, when we're voting for the budget, isn't the time. This is the time when we can do the work to really think about it, instead of scrambling at the last minute with an idea. Or people coming to a town meeting and saying, but why didn't we think of this? We need to think about it now.
And also get a feel for like, what's the appetite of the town, like if we have to cut money, we have to cut money. And if more people would rather see one thing go than increase class sizes, then we need to know, and we've said this multiple times, to be like, you need to guide us, like, we're here making these decisions. And, it would be very beneficial for people to kind of tell us like, well, this is important to us, this we would love to have, but sometimes we can't always do both. And it, that also depends on who's voting and all these other things, but.
I also want to make sure that we are striking a chord of not cutting things or not proposing things that will reduce the quality of the education. I'm not suggesting we did that, but like, as a more global conversation, we have on one side folks who are talking are casting aspersions on the education in this town, and then we have those same folks wanting to cut the budget. So it's hard to coincide those two things. So like, personally, as I look at this budget process and thinking about ways that we can be more creative in funding or things that we could potentially cut, I see a direct like string between between us and EO. And I know not everybody goes to EO, but in my mind, that's kind of how I envision it. And making sure that our kids have everything they need in order to be as prepared as possible to get to high school. And I feel like that's our job to make sure that that happens.
Yeah, one thing I didn't notice on here, Phil, is can you add a spot that says this is just strictly contractual increase that we have no control over? Is that in here anywhere?
It's probably
Instead of
90.
description.
It'll depend on where you wanna say it's contract, like some, cause we're under contract for MCOR, right? Someone could say, well, you don't need that. But it is a contract that we have,
Well, yeah.
so
Parking salary contract?
same thing like our internet is a contract. I will tell you, when this has been done in prior years, you're in the 90s. The high 90s of what's contractual, where the rate is the rate. Where and it sounds silly when you start looking at this, but when you start looking at what you can adjust is the supply money. You're talking about $40,000, it's not,
Yeah,
and that means you don't have glue or scissors or paper. Doesn't change the big picture of where this budget is. I mean, if I just looked at, if I just did this for one, what was it?
I just thought that last year, and maybe we did it as a after things kept failing, they were like, look at, this is how much of the budget increase is just special education, or this is, remember that? And I just thought that was kind of a helpful visual for me too, to be like, oh yeah, like, where are we gonna find that it keeps failing?
I put together a rudimentary snippet of what was contractual. And what was
Yeah,
not
I'm like,
based
was
on-
that a fever dream? Like, where
No, I didn't.
where did I see that?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at just program one and you go through. And you start going, okay, so salaries, you need a principal that's contractual, teachers are contractual, staff, the secretary is contractual, staff support specialist is contractual. All the purchase services are small contract, power schools contract, copiers a contract, telephones a contract, internet, postage, disposal, all contracts. Extra activities, no money. 43,000 for educational supplies. That means there's your a window, right? In that one program, you have choice there. But that means you don't have clay in an art room, or you don't have whatever those materials are that make up the 43,000. When you get to the media center, you're not buying any more books. There's a choice there. It's not contractual, but that means you're not spending $3,500 on books. Periodicals are, you know, you could say they were a contract, but you could decide that we're just not gonna do it this year because we have the full reading program. The computer equipment is a full offset in the grants. The piano tuning could not happen for $200, but, and all the building maintenance items, fire extinguisher inspection, pest control, those are all contractual, septic inspection, you know, lawn care, all of those are contractual. And then the conference principal supplies is not, but the conference travel and dues and fees and memberships is in their contracts. So if you just think about in the grand scheme of the $2 million budget in center school, I'm calling a little over $45,000 is not contractual, and they fall into supplies.
So would you say that in our staff contracts, was it about a 4% increase?
Yes, that
roughly
was
for-
with at the time of the census group that you had.
Okay,
Mhm.
so does that help, Sam, that that's what went into salaries, increase in salaries? As opposed to core and,
You wanna know how much of the whole thing?
Contractual versus.
Yeah.
What you were breaking down.
Yeah, I've also, I mean, just as we talk about this, and I don't always think this is a good solution, but sometimes it's a viable solution. I've looked at, does a buyout make sense for our staff? And we have people that are at top step, but they're not at retirement age.
We have any retirements this year?
So, not that I know of, no, I mean, I honestly, we probably have two people in district that are in that 30-year range. And then it jumps down to me. So I can't retire yet, and every other, you know, we have a full years of service document. And, you know, typically teachers to get the maximum retirement is 37 years. And
a half.
37 and a half.
That is a-
Right. But like I would say, hey, if you did a buyout, sometimes it saves you money and you hire on the lower, so you know you're gonna hire on the lower side because they're top staff. That just doesn't more, like those are the solutions I've been looking at, they just.
Not lining up.
That's not one you can do right now.
We used to have that in Mansfield. I think one of the last people has or is retiring. But you would get half of your salary or your salary over 5 years. Or
That's the
something like
Mansfield
that.
solution, that's not a Willington solution.
But it was called early retirement, so you could pay your insurance and retire earlier, was the whole purpose of it.
So, and I just can I go back to the Mansfield comment again? Arthur kind of said this for E.O. Smith about world language. In my first year as a superintendent, was always asked, like, what's your dream? What would you do? And I always felt like there's things that you could do educationally that, just financially, we would struggle to do. Students that are going to Mansfield have the ability to go from the middle school to E.O. Smith and take some math courses, right? Students at Mansfield can take geometry in 8th grade. We had to buy a special program for one student last year when and I know this sounds that's simple, but I think this is what Arthur's point is and why it's so important. To get to the highest level math classes at E.O. Smith, if that's where you're going, or to get to the highest level world language classes, you have to have those things in 8th grade. So in your freshman year, you just keep going. You can can you enter E.O. Smith as Spanish 3 as a freshman?
I don't think so.
Okay, so world language 2 is where they could start, but math could be two courses, I believe, already completed through Mansfield that we don't have the ability to do. And we've tried to find solutions to that, like last year, we came up with a really creative solution at the middle school for a student. But we can't offer that to all. It's another certified teacher, it's more insurance, it's those types of things, so when we're talking about being competitive. And the dream of what else could we do, there are things we could do. But it costs a lot of money to do those things, and that's where, when you're at a 6-8. You can't have those things in there.
I also believe that at the middle school, they have teachers that teach some of those other languages that we're offering online.
They do, they're struggling now,
Yeah.
everybody is.
Uh-huh.
I think EO is too, right, trying to
Yeah.
fill language positions right now, anybody that wants a job. Go get a teacher certification in a specific language, you can pick where you wanna work pretty much.
They lost the German teacher, so all the kids in German 4 are taking it via the computer, basically via Rosetta Stone.
It's a different experience.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit, but I have used Rosetta Stone, I like it. It's a good program.
Honestly, I think it's been a good solution for us. Based upon not being able to fill a position, we can still offer the world language. And some choice without.
Have we shopped like the different, like there's Babbel, there's Duolingo, like do those have?
We did it at the time,
Municipal applications as well?
we did it at the time before we went to Rosetta Stone.
Is that something that, like every couple of years, we should maybe be considering like, oh, let's look around and see
We could, especially now with AI,
Just
we
for due
probably could
diligence.
shop it again.
versus. That too with like the maintenance, like how often are we shopping, like the pest control, those different like lawn care, like. Have we, do
Lawn
those
care
things
done
go out
with,
to bid at all
oh
or?
yeah, yep,
how?
lawn care is done with the town. Pest control, as we watch rates, we can adjust our annual contracts,
Okay.
yep. The one that is you can't shop around because they just don't exist is the elevator at Hall. Ooh, there's another job, you wanna make some money. Wow,
Do they have parts for that elevator somewhere?
they do, they're very hard to get, like, you're talking about $1,000 an hour for some of those elevator service calls.
Yeah. Pretty old elevator.
It's on your CIP list.
Does Novus provide maintenance to our copiers and stuff too?
No, but they do the networking for them.
Copier contract should cover that. That should cover toner, staples, and maintenance.
Yep, and we pay for the copies.
Yeah. And there's a difference in price between color and black and white.
Go ahead, tell them. It's important for you to know, people wanna hear.
Do you ever shut off color? Do you have a contract? Do you ever go over?
One color copier and center
Okay.
school. It's in the office, and the reason why is because we would watch a number of color copies
Mhm.
on a monthly basis. And now when you have to walk and go into the office, and it's not to discourage it where it should be used. But when you print a copy of something and the email address is in blue, which whoever created that, I want to talk to, that's a color copy.
Once
Yeah,
dot of ink.
and so they know that I reach out to them and say, hey, Lisa, here's your copy. And
Why
I,
does center school have 11,000 color copies?
Do you have it broken down by user or?
we haven't gone to that.
I did that one.
We could
pull
put in
those
the
reports.
codes, but anybody who wants a printer in their room, if they wanna bring in their own printer and pay for their own ink, they can have it, we'll connect it, but
Do you let them bug Novus for the install or do you make them do it on their own?
no, we have to.
I was gonna say, I'm not trusting the teachers to format their own printers.
I won't touch them. You wanna do it? You can get it working. It's all yours.
Yeah,
That's fair, but if you get somebody targeting you, that's the prime spot to get into the network is by an unsecured printer.
So.
Go for it.
It takes some work, but
Challenge.
if you wanna get targeted, that's what they're gonna look at.
Again, the point that even though we're making light of it, the
Yeah.
point is like, we watch all of those things.
Mhm.
I mean, it's 15 cents, it's not even 15 cents, it's
Very
like,
close.
But it adds up.
we do, it's like a color copy is like 0.006 or something, like it's, you know. It's not a lot of money,
Elementary school
but
teachers
when they,
love color copies.
Yes, they do.
when they add up,
That's
we
great.
watch all of those things. We shopped out the copier contract last year. We shopped the, you know, the oil, the diesel. We shop all those things. We lock in early. There's a reason we do those things, to save every dollar we can.
And you got a great rate this year.
We got a really good rate. It just doesn't help us when it's,
No.
all of the other costs are back up.
Doesn't help with the outplacements.
No.
You should give us a copy of your contract with an outfit.
Yeah.
Right?
As a bonus.
It's a challenge. I mean, look at, education is even more and more, it's an expensive business. And this is not a plug for, I guess it is, going to one building solves some of this issue, because you are duplicating services. My opinion, you get a new building, or a new, and I say new, a consolidated pre-K through 8th grade building.
One building.
To me, this position could become part-time, and you hire a maintenance facilities director to make sure all the preventative stuff is done along the way. Principals, you'd have to look to see if you needed to maintain 2, or could you go down to 1? You maintain a pupil service director and a principal, you can determine those things. Nurses, secretaries, there's a lot, it doesn't mean all of those people will go, but it allows you to start to evaluate a duplication of service that is required. Honestly, is required with 2 buildings. Because there's no way one person can do all of the evaluations that are required to do.
Then would be cut in half also. There's $5,000 right there.
100, there's a bunch of those, right, same size buildings, all the heating and fuel and electricity and, I mean, water, all of those things. Transportation. There's a ton of things, and I'm not trying to argue for that right now, that's not like the law, you have to spend money to save money. But that is the reality, it's expensive to maintain 2 buildings. And
Yeah.
that includes staffing.
That's the key.
I'm gonna request, cause this is your 3rd workshop, I wanna make sure I'm clear about where you're going to go next, cause your next one, I think, is before your board meeting, right? Without Donna, I wanna make sure if you are thinking like you want me to come prepared with numbers and change things on the fly, that you might need a special meeting to follow up to make sure it's right. Because that's if you're gonna make any significant changes, I wanna make sure it's correct, and I need to sit down with Sherry to be able to do that. But if you say, hey, come with these 3 things, these are the 3 things we're looking at. And I'm just gonna give you an example, sorry, Marcia. If you are going to cut the $1,000 increase to Marcia's supplies that she requested, and rightfully so. If you are going to cut that back down to what it was, I can do that math, we can do that math. But if you're going to have 6 or 7 things that you want me to consider, I don't wanna do that on the fly and have you approve the wrong number.
So are you asking for those things prior to?
If you want me to be prepared to do those things, I wanna make sure I do the math, I have them clear out in front of you for everybody. It's double check with Sherry so we can especially if it comes into something positionally that you're considering, because is there a stipend with it? Is there insurance with it? Are there any waivers? Are there, any, you know, what's the salary? All of those things.
Wait, does anybody have just things off the top of their head they wanna talk about that meeting? Or do we just talk about it now and get it done?
If you have, that's what
I
that's
don't
what I'm.
have anything, that's why I'm asking. I've been
You think
I've been
it
verbal
should
the whole
happen
time.
Before the 10th?
Say it again. I just wanna be prepared, if you are going, your 10th is really supposed to be an optional meeting. If you have any final things prior to your regular meeting, and then the 10th Your regular meeting is where you're supposed to approve your budget to submit to Board of Finance the next day. Okay, if you're going to ask me to make, like I think it's a risky process when we sit with a spreadsheet on the town side and they're moving numbers live and then they approve it right then and there. That's hard because if you miss something wrong and you've approved it, you could miss something big. I don't ever want to be in that position, so I'm just asking you, if you have things that, you know, you want to say, hey, how much would we save if we did X? I want that information, that question ahead of time if you can, so that way, it doesn't mean you can, then you can talk about it and I can give you the number. And I've backed it up with Sherry, it's good to go.
I feel like this is needs-based, as we have said, and
Yes.
it goes as is. And then if we have to get super creative further, that's gonna happen after we've spoken with
Mhm.
townspeople on the Board of Finance.
Mhm.
I think it's good to have those like background thoughts, some maybes will be could possiblies, but I mean, there's nothing on here right now that I would say, hey, that's kind of fluffy, we don't need it.
I mean, cutting $1,000 is just like nickels and dimes, it's like.
Well, I
It's not
mean,
even just, it's not even just that though, John, it's the impact that it would have on the program, on the, like, it's,
children, students.
Yeah, no, you're right.
yeah, I just,
No,
there's
I
a
don't
cost
think there's any of
benefit
this
to
stuff.
everything that we do, and I,
Like Phil says, this is a bare bones budget, there's nothing,
Yes.
yeah, there's nothing, there's no fluff in there,
So,
that I can find, you got
Hasn't
some.
stopped anybody from arguing before.
Deal
Hasn't
with that
stopped
later, but
failure
yeah,
before. I just want everybody to be prepared for some very uncomfortable conversations because we're pushing this forward like it's gonna go and
oh, it's
I
not
can
gonna
almost
go,
guarantee
but.
you it's not gonna go, so just have that in the back of
Fire
your
your
mind.
pencils up, but yeah,
I guess this is my point to that is sometimes. People just come up with a random number and say, well, we wanna see it under a 4. The reality of getting to a 4 in this budget is $300,000. You're not getting $300,000 from supplies, and I'm just gonna keep saying that, at some point, you're going to have, if someone says that. You're gonna have to come out and say, if that is the reality of what we're have to get to, this is what we're talking about. And you're gonna have to publicly have that conversation of what that is.
if they did that, can you do contract freezes? Or is it too late for that?
I could ask for a concession, which is they could ask for a con.
Instead of letting someone go like you're alluding to there.
You could ask for it, they could say you negotiated a contract in good faith, and that's the contract.
Okay.
But again, in reality, what's $107,000 is about 1% right now. And that's basically a full-fledged teacher with family benefits. When you're talking about I'm gonna say smaller positions like a staff support specialist with family benefits. You're $55,000. When you're talking about cutting $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to get down to a 2-3, if that's what people are talking about. It is huge impact, and I wanna make sure that you're prepared at some point. That those things people need to know what you would want to, we would have our recommendation. Which we already have a list, right, and it's a, oh my gosh list, if you know what I mean. Us falling off our chairs literally, and I think when I shared the document, when I started drafting this with them. I called everybody individually and said, don't panic when you look at this list, but we need to be prepared and start processing. How, if we ever had to get there, what would it look like?
Go ahead.
I just wanna make sure you know that we have about 3 minutes to complete our meeting,
No, didn't see that.
pass over our seats to
Okay.
the.
I just wanna say, one thing about the percentage, it's such an arbitrary thing, and the fact that we have spent months developing and talking about this budget and pouring through it and hearing from people who this will impact on a regular basis. It's incredibly frustrating to hear that, arbitrary just, and I know there's a history, that's what happens. But I think if we as a board, I'll speak for myself, I'm confident that we have worked hard enough to get this budget into a place that is, this is what the kids in this town need. And, as you said publicly, Phil, having people, requiring people to say, this is what I want for our budget, I want it to be at this percent, and then us to say, okay, where would you like that to come from? That kind of, that's important. That ownership, whatever, it's not ownership, but I feel like that is something that we can ask from people.
Have you sent your letter to the Board of Finance yet?
No, I'm doing it tomorrow morning.
I just wanted that to get to them first.
Tomorrow, it's gonna be there for tomorrow
For
night.
this.
Yes, no, it's gonna be there for tomorrow night.
How's it?
All right, so as it stands, our next meeting is Tuesday, February 10th at 6 P.M. right before our 7 P.M. budget meeting. Yes,
6 p.m.?
6 P.M. because it's right before our regular, sorry.
February 10th, 6 p.m. Okay.
When will our budget be presented to the Board of Finance? Do we know that yet?
Sir.
I did it.
It looks like February 19th, unless it has changed.
That's right.
That's what's on here.
February 19th? Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
Have that.
we need super fast motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Second, Sam at 6:50, all in favor? All right, thank you. Meeting is adjourned.